Hey guys, it's me, Jake, from JakeMan21642. Today I wanted to do just a really quick video of a car that has been in my family forever, but has never been on this channel. This is my great aunt's 2007 Honda Odyssey. This one is a pretty much fully loaded. I know there was the touring trim, but not a huge difference. This one is a EXL with navigation and rear entertainment. Basically, long story short, she bought this van brand new. She was my great-grandmother's caretaker. So basically, she ended up with this van because it was something comfortable for my great-grandmother to get in and out. They could load her walker into it easily. She also does have some rental properties and things like that. So nice to have a pretty utilitarian vehicle. But at the same time, she also has 3 vehicles. So while this is an 07, it only has 64,000 miles on it. She hasn't been driving a lot lately. The battery actually died, so I came out here today, jump-started it, took it for a quick drive, and I know it doesn't look like it on camera, but this van has 64,000 miles, like I said. It needs a detail very bad, which is something I'm going to try to steal for a day and take care of for her, but like I said, I still just wanted to get a quick video of it. This is my favorite era of Honda. As anyone who's followed the channel knows, I mean, I had an 03 Accord, I had an 02 Civic. Working at dealerships and repair shops, I've been around tons of these. And like I said, while this one needs a good detail, it is in phenomenal shape compared to how most of these are. And I say that as I come up on this, which I'm not really sure what happened. I think this might be from her carport. But there's a little mark there and a little mark there. I've never seen this, so I definitely want to get that taken care of. I've got a good paint and PDR, guys, so as bad as that looks, it's really not a big deal. Around the rear, you can see your Odyssey badge. I believe these are LED tail lights, or at least designed to look like it. And funny, actually, I'm filming this in my elementary school parking lot, which was the first place I ever saw this van. I remember the day they bought it, they actually came to pick me up from school in it. And I grew up in a station wagon family. No hate against minivans, just my parents, my grandparents always had station wagons. None of us really ever had a purpose for anything like this. So being a little kid, I was 10 or 11 years old when they got it. But being a little kid, I thought this thing was the coolest car ever. First car I ever saw power sliding doors on. This was definitely the first car ever in my family to have a touchscreen that I saw. I just remember at the time, this was so nice. And I mean, it still is. These have aged very well. Like I said, no minivan hate at all. I love minivans. The Odyssey is my favorite. I mean, these basically just drive like a big 7th gen Accord. Mom's minivan jokes aside, these things are just so great to have around. Plenty of space. I have a friend who has pretty much the exact same car, and it was great when they came into town with some people that were visiting them. Was able to drive all of us around in the same vehicle, kind of being a tour guide. When he's not hauling people with it, they basically treat it like a work truck. I don't think I've ever been in it and it didn't smell like lumber. Another friend of mine had one of these, and around COVID, we were doing a lot of drive-in concerts, which was awesome. You could just back right in, pop the rear hatch, and you've got an awesome little chill space. But back to this one, outside you can see EXL obviously gives you body-colored door handles, body-colored mirrors, sunroof. You can see this one actually does have roof rails, but no crossbars. I don't know why in my area the dealerships love to put crossbars on these. Typical Honda of this era, you do have your fuel cap on the driver's side. And this one is riding on a set of Michelin Premier All Seasons. You can see, despite being very well taken care of, the wheels on this are doing the same thing that all of these do, where they kind of pit around here. For some reason, the passenger side is way worse than the driver's side. But even though this one has never seen road salt in its life, they all do that. Up front, halogen headlights, pretty standard of this era. This is an 07. I believe 08 was the year these kind of got a refresh. So this looks like a fairly early build one. Key fob, you can see, old enough you actually have a key and a fob. Lock, unlock, And then you do have your power sliding door controls. And I will say, excuse the inside. I don't want to say a mess, just being lived in, because this is what minivans are for. But again, I remember them picking me up from school, walking up and hitting that button and thinking that was the coolest thing ever. But stepping in up front, typical Honda of this era, it is beige on beige. And again, it needs a detail, but it is in phenomenal shape. This is probably the worst part, and this is just gene stain, which is very typical of this leather that has probably never seen conditioner in its life. But I mean, you can see she really does care about this thing. And start it. That old school Honda chime, which I love. And like I said, 64,000 miles. And starts up fine. Battery was only 2 years old, so I figured a jump and a good 30-minute drive, it would be set. Inside, you can see your typical Honda wheel from this era. This is the exact same wheel out of my 7th gen Accord. Your volume controls on this side, cruise control on this side. Amazingly, the cruise main relay still works. These always get broken and will not stay pushed down. The build quality is fantastic. I mean, once again, I feel right at home. It's all a hard plastic up here, but it's a very nice texture. The EXL gives you this very pretty leather on the door, as well as your armrest, which the armrest feels like it's never even been used. Silver trim around your climate controls, power locks, and your heated power mirrors. I believe the Touring did give you wood grain. If not, I know it was a dealer accessory back then. Your VSA on and off. Typical old Honda, you have your sunroof controls to the left of the steering wheel, not up there where every other car put it. My 93 Accord was this way, my 02 Civic was this way, and my 03 Accord was. When I went from the Accord to a Volvo, I kept going over here for the sunroof controls. Power door controls right there, which you can turn on and off. Gauges, which once again, very typical Honda of this era. Pretty electroluminescent, they're so clean as well. Engine temperature, fuel gauge, all of that, very nice and simple. And again, I apologize for the state of in here. I just really wanted to get a video of this car. You can tell this one does still have the OEM glass because it's got the cool old school Honda blue tint strip up top. Sunroof right there. And then your sunglasses container, which also does double as a conversation mirror. Interior lighting, and then your garage home link, as well as a manually dimming rearview mirror. I think auto dimming was another Touring thing. Navigation system, which, like I said, this was one of the first cars in my family that I ever saw a touchscreen or navigation or anything in. I mean, I knew they existed. Nobody in my family really ever bought new cars at this time. So this was so cool to me. Can also bring your audio system up on it. And it's funny too, my 4Runner was the same way. You'd think a system from 07 would be unusable at this point. I mean, obviously don't use the navigation. That is going to get you lost. There's a roundabout up there that I know this thing does not know exists. But for what it is, I mean, having your audio on here, different menus, things like that, it's really not that bad. It's actually pretty responsive. It's also got, typical of this era, your CD changer hidden behind there. I forgot the crazy move these do where they go back. They don't come forward like most of them. You can see clock right there. 2 air vents, and then your climate controls. They are tri-zone automatic. So you have the zone for the driver and passenger. And then the rear controls are independent. More of the silver trim on the dash, which looks very nice. And then your lighting controls right there. And that's another nice thing, I mean, I love about just simple family cars like this. Everything is where it should be. It's very clearly labeled. It's very easy to use. I mean, obviously being the early days of touchscreens, but it's just, there's tons of storage, tons of places to put things. You can see the door panels. These are very, very well thought out cars. They're just very utilitarian. The driving position as well. Low belt line. This is something I could hop in and go on a crazy long road trip in and be perfectly comfortable. But your radio down here is kind of a weird setup. You can definitely tell it's an older design having to look down at the radio, but super easy to use. AM, FM, CD, auxiliary in. So still pretty modern. I don't think this might have Bluetooth. Obviously, it would be like Bluetooth 1.0, no Bluetooth audio streaming, just calling. But very nice, simple to use. I know a lot of people do replace these, but it's cool to still see the stock system. This is definitely, too, a lot more attractive than the non-navigation models. Cup holders right there, which looks like they've never been used. And then, typical Honda of this era, you do have a little, not an ashtray, storage compartment. Heated seats down below, basically on the floor. And then 2 power outlets right there. Your DVD player for the rear entertainment system, which I think has been used once in this car, probably when I was 11 years old and wanted to test it. Storage up there. And then, of course, your glove box down below. And then this in the middle does flip down, obviously, when it's not in use. You can see the passenger seat, I mean, looks brand new in this car because it is barely ever used. And Hondas of this era just had such a great leather. You get an Acura of this generation, and it is the exact same material. But we'll go ahead, step out, give you a quick walk around of the rest of the car. Like I said, I definitely want to steal it for a day, get that fixed for her, and also get like a proper detail on the car. I'll definitely make a video of it then. Power sliding door, and you can see your third row. These are 8 passengers, so you do have the middle seat right there, which can be removed as well if you just want captain's chairs. Obviously, she's got that set up at the moment. And like I said, this van is lived in. She has a dog. She has rental properties. This is a car that gets used. Back here, cup holders as well. These always break. I mean, obviously the only reason that's still intact is no one sits back here. Does have the rear entertainment system as well, right there. And then your air vents up top, all of that. Inside the trunk, which is manual on this one, nice and simple. You can see what I said. These are super usable. I mean, you just get a massive amount of space, and that's with the second row up. Like I said, I've seen these things haul lumber. I have used them to help people move. I've hung out in the back of them for a night. These are such awesome usable cars. And like I said, you can see she really does care about this thing. We just have mats on top of mats. Third row underneath of there, which literally is brand new. And up top, you do have storage compartments. I love how the EXL, the leather, carries all the way back here. And then you do have a subwoofer up top as well. That's another thing I forgot to mention is Hondas of this era had such great audio systems. This thing bumps way harder than any '07 minivan should. See, typical Honda of this era too does have the door edge guards. And once again, the back seat is untouched underneath all of this. Cup holders on this side. And your rear climate controls up there on that side. I did miss that. You can see the leather as well as your shades follow through in the back. And you do have multiple storage compartments on the backs of the seats. This was the original wireless Honda headphones for the rear entertainment system. And you can see too, I mean, other than that little mishap right there, this thing has not had any paint work and is phenomenal shape otherwise. Definitely, that's one nice thing about my grandparents and my great aunts' cars is they live out here in the country, so they definitely do not get beat on as hard as me and my parents' cars. And under the hood on this one is your typical of this era 3.5 liter J35 V6 engine. You can see this is one of the early ones with VCM. And this car is so low mileage that it doesn't even have the VCM shutter that these always do. If I can talk her into it though, I might still end up doing the VCM delete. Timing belt was changed, I believe at like 32,000 miles on it. I remember her calling me because it was 10 years old at that point, and she thought the dealership was kind of trying to get one over on her, and I'm like, No, your van actually needs it. It's time and mileage. But everything under here is in great shape. I believe it's been serviced at the Honda dealer its entire life. Yeah, like I said, I just wanted to get a video of it on the channel. I know I have lots of Honda people that follow me. I'm still a huge Honda fan, even though I don't technically own one at the moment. But as always, guys, thanks for watching. Any questions, comments, anything like that, drop them down below. Thanks for watching.